Hello, my name is Sean McCarthy and welcome back to Module 2 of the workshop Getting Ready for Horizon 2020. Now in this short module, I want to talk about the concept of lobbying. Now, a lot of people have a negative attitude to the word lobbying, but I could change the title to how the research priorities are identified. So we're going to look at the whole decision-making process on how the European Commission selects topics for Horizon 2020. Now, Mr. Graham Stroud, he's a gentleman who has worked in the Commission for many years, and he said in an interview, he said, "You're liable to have more influence if you can get together with a bigger grouping of people who provide a unified view." Now, in this workshop, I'm going to use photovoltaics, solar cells, as an example. So, for example, if I go to Brussels arguing for photovoltaics, they'll just see it as me representing my area. But if I go with the European Photovoltaics Industry Association or the European Renewable Energy Association, then the same message has more strength. So it's important to see that lobbying is done at European group level. Now, Philips state that the best lobbying tool you'll ever get is a competitive proposal. So it's not one without the other. Now, in this presentation, we're not going to talk about anything dishonest or illegal. This is the feeling that journalists get when they hear the word lobbying. They see it as a very negative word. What I'm going to talk about are positive things, like how to actively participate in the decision-making process, how to, when the Commission wants to consult stakeholders, how to brief the Commission, how to participate in foresight studies, and the key thing from the Commission's point of view is that the organisation has credibility and that they trust them. And this is something that takes a while to build up. But if the Commission respects your opinion and trusts your judgment, then they're very, very open to taking your ideas into the programme. Now, a lot of organisations don't have the resources or facilities to influence the debate. So if you're not interested in influencing debate, this workshop is about how to monitor what is actually going on in your particular area. Now, in Module 1, we show that the Commission looks at different challenges. We have social challenges, regional challenges, economic challenges, and scientific challenges. And the people that lobby here are civil society organizations. Now, they say, we want research on cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, migration. The regional bodies, these would be regional authorities. They want money for structural funds, but they also want money for innovation in the regions. Then you have industry, arguing that the money should be put into making industry more competitive. And the scientists argue that more money should be put into basic science. At international level, China, Russia, India, Brazil are trying to argue that they should continue to receive funding in Horizon 2020 like Framework 7. So that's a small lobby. But the two main big lobby groups are the industry and basic science. But civil society organizations are now becoming more organized, and they will have a big influence on the design of the program. So these are the different groups that try to influence the program. Now, the way that Horizon 2020 will be run is that it will be a 7-year program, but work program will be prepared, and also in 3 years. Now, the annual calls then that will be published will be based on this trying to lobby for the work program, or am I trying to lobby for the next call? Now, if we look at this, these strategic plans, the lobbying for the first strategic plan started way back even in late 2011. The lobbying for the second strategic plan will begin in the middle of 2014. And the lobbying for the third one will begin in the middle of 2016. So again, you have to decide, are we interested in the next call, the next work program, or the next strategic plan? So if we go back to the diagram I presented in Module 1, we can see that if we can design different types of lobbying activities within an organization. Now, the most common one is where you want a system in place to support scientists when they're writing proposals. And that's the most common form of support that's available within universities and research centres. Now, the Commission will publish the official calls, say, in December, but in January or July or August, they will publish a draft. And people are going to analyse the drafts. Say, for example, one time the Commission said they were going to fund research in photovoltaics. Now, that means research in solar cells. But our research field was photovoltaic systems, and it took us 3 months to get the word system into the programme. So when the final official draft was, or the official call was published, it said research in photovoltaics and in brackets, including systems. So this is going to be a very, very intensive lobbying period. If you want to try to influence the work programme, that's planned, as we saw, 2 years ahead. And if you want to look at the whole strategic planning, that can be up to 3 years ahead. Now, if you're a person that's more interested in trying to influence political debates, that's a long-term activity, and talking to politicians and trying to convince politicians of the importance of your field, that's more of a continuous activity. But that's a story for another day. So the last slide I will present in this module is this exact slide, but I'm going to name the different organizations that you can monitor to see how the final decisions are being made. Now, in module 1, I presented this slide, and we saw that scientists have an opportunity to contribute to the policy debate. Now, if we take photovoltaics, the first place I would look is the European technology platforms, and I'll give you the list of these 36 platforms on the next slides. Now, these are industry-driven platforms who advise the Commission on where their research should be funded. And in there's one photovoltaics technology platform. The next thing is the Key Enabling Technologies Expert Group. And if I read that report, I see that one of the main areas they've identified is photovoltaics, and they look at all the technologies that feed into that. There are 5 European innovation partnerships, and these are also information collection activities, and I'll present those in the following slides. Cost actions are funded as part of Framework 7, and these are networks. It's not research, it's money to bring researchers together, but the Commission will consult the cost actions to identify areas for future research. They'll consult conferences, and in the following modules I'll talk about joint programming. This is where member states come together to try to identify areas where they could cooperate, and the Commission will use this information when they're looking at programs and topics. They consult European associations, for example, the European Photovoltaics Industry Association, there is the European Renewable Energy Association. They also consult advisory groups, they commission studies, and they also have foresight activities. And in Framework 7, there's a type of grant called the Coordination and Support Action, and in here they fund studies which are the basis for future research. Now, in the main course that I give, I provide people with a website where they can actually search all of these, and we also give a PowerPoint template where you can prepare your own individual lobbying strategy. But let's have a look at some of these groups. If you're interested in more the political lobbying, you look at AREC and AREA, but I won't discuss those here. You have the Aeronautics Platform. You have down here photonics, and there's our friend photovoltaics. So if I'm interested in influencing the topics in photovoltaics, I will be active in that particular platform. You have road, rail, water, and here we have biofuels, chemistry, construction, and so on. So it's necessary to go through this list, and at the bottom of the slide you'll see a web page where you can find the links to all of these individual platforms. Now, in 2009, the European Commission set up an expert group called the Key Enabling Technologies Expert Group. And in the original proposal in November 2011, you can see at the bottom of this slide, 6.7 billion euro is proposed to be allocated to these 6 areas. So if any of these areas are relevant to you, it's important to see what recommendations are being made from the group, and more importantly, who is actually making those recommendations. Now, the European Innovation Partnerships, this is not a funding programme. These are experts that are brought together to advise the Commission on where should we put research and innovation activities, say for example in the pilot active and healthy ageing, in raw materials, in water and so on. Cost actions, there's over 200 cost actions running at any one time, and they normally launch about 60 new cost actions every year. Now remember, these are not projects, these are networks, and you can see over 40,000 scientists attend seminars, workshops, fora every year. So for young researchers in particular, these are important networking opportunities. But from a lobbying point of view, these can be used to influence the debate and contribute to the debate on research in different fields. So if we summarize, if I look at a research centre, I'll say, look, if you're putting together a lobbying plan. Now, if you want to lobby just for proposals, what you need is a support service in place where you contact your national contact points, contact project officers in Brussels, but most importantly, helping scientists to write a good proposal. Now, that's the most traditional form of support that scientists get. If you want to influence the draft, then the people to contact are the programme committee. Now, these are national delegates. These are people nominated at national level. And if you can't find your national delegate on the programme committee, the best thing is to contact your national contact point and go to them. And sometimes the NCP and the delegates are the same people. So these are the individuals dealing with the work programme. Now, if you're more interested in influencing the strategic plan and the work programmes, then the people to talk to are the programme committee, the platforms, the cost actions, the associations, all the different groups that I presented to you in the previous slides. Now, if you're more of a political person, then it's things like foresight studies, national submissions, ARAC, area, which I won't cover in this particular lecture. So you can see that if you're in a narrow area like photovoltaics, photonics, cancer, diabetes, migration, what you need to do is you need to be able to analyze who are the exact people in Europe that are contributing to the debate, and just these are the people you would like to have as partners later on in your projects. So thank you very much for listening to this short overview of the module, and I hope you'll join us in modules 3 and 4, which will be following shortly. So thank you very much for your attention, and best of luck in Horizon 2020.